A lot of injuries. And what's going on with MPJ? This is Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Network, your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and we're available on all platforms. Today's episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Visit rockauto.com and tell them Locked On Nuggets sent you. My name's Matt Moore. I'm a senior NBA writer for the Action Network, Nuggets insider for 104.3 The Fan in Denver. Joined by Adam Mares, director of content for DNVR, thednvr.com. To recap, the Nuggets taking a loss on the back-to-back down in Dallas. Led at the half by 9, but fall 111-101. And Adam, I'm going to be real honest with you. There's all sorts of like in-depth basketball and all these things, but I just keep coming back to they were shorthanded. It was a back-to-back, and Porzingis hit some threes. THJ had a good game. Good for them. I don't have
Jalen Brunson too. I mean, look, there's things that are interesting to talk about this game, but I don't think there are interesting things to take away from this game. So the game was interesting. There was interesting stuff, but I do think this was. It's funny. Like Michael Malone was a little heated after this one, and you know, we are analysts. We're more pragmatic. We're more grounded than players who feel and coaches who feel like they can and should win every single game. But this was one where it's like, yeah. Denver was down Zeke Naji. Like you add another player, Will Barton and Zeke Naji, Bones rolls his ankle, and you're on a back-to-back. And it was like, yeah, they just did not have a second unit they could string together to put out there to save them, to spell the starters for 4 minutes tonight. And they end up falling.
Yeah, I mean, that really is what it kind of comes down to, right? Like, you know, the Nuggets lose by 11 or 10 rather. And like Dozier was bad. He was 2 of 8, minus 16. JaMychal Green was a minus 10. They all won their first stint too. It was really it was just the second half, third and fourth. Like this is the thing, right? Where if they're shorthanded, they're just not going to be able to sustain. Like they're going to have these nights with the bench just gets crushed. Especially, I thought Bones Highland was. I mean, he tweaked an ankle. Right. Yeah. So that was like he was limited 10 minutes, 39 seconds. I thought he made some key mistakes in the first half as well. But yeah, no Will Barton. They kept him out. Obviously no Jamal Murray, no MPJ. They're down 3 starters.
Even Zeke, honestly, like
yeah,
I don't know that he would have made a difference in the outcome, but it was just another guy where it's like, who's playing tonight? Like who?
Well, the other thing is like you needed legs. Like you just needed somebody that had their legs under them,
right?
And you know, I mean, I'll go back and say this, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess here's the question: is like how much is the front office reasonably responsible for in terms of roster availability for injury, right? Like, you know, is it realistic to expect them to have an NBA veteran big that's just like a break glass, because that player is probably going to want more minutes than he's going to ultimately get, you know?
The thing is, the only guy that didn't play tonight was Marcus Howard.
Yeah.
So it's not like Denver, you know, I don't know. The injuries just pile up. Vlatko Čančar got hurt not in a game, like just in a practice or something. I mean, sometimes this stuff happens. Who knows what happened with Zeke Naji? Bone just rolled an ankle. It just happens a little bit. It is concerning to me, though, that it's happening as quickly as it has. Really, the only 2 that concern me are Michael Porter Jr., who I know we're going to talk about later, and then, of course, Will Barton. You know, Will Barton going down, hopefully he's available for Thursday. I'm not going to say the panic button is being hit or anything like that, but if this is an injury that holds him out, you know, a week, that's this early in the season, that would be a little bit concerning to me.
I guess the other, like, from this game, I guess the question is, you know, Mavs shoot 50% from the field, 14 of 36, 39% from 3. You know, they have fewer turnovers. So again, the Nuggets have more turnovers and they lose. Like, there was some talk on Twitter today of just like, well, you know, the Nuggets are allowing a really high percentage at the rim in terms of field goal percentage. and they're allowing a lot of threes that haven't fallen. Was this maybe a sign that the defense isn't quite what the eye test has kind of said that it is?
I don't buy that. Do you? I didn't see that, but I don't buy it either.
I'm reaching. If you ask me, like, what happened here? It was a schedule loss versus a not great but not bad team in which they had a great second half because TSJ was awesome. And
also Denver was tired, man. I mean, they were just dragging. I actually thought Jokic gave a great effort tonight, and it was a pretty good game. It was 35, 16, and 6. That's like an A- game for Jokic,
right.
By his own standards.
Right.
It was actually it would have been an A+ game if he would have he missed a few bunnies down the stretch that you kind of expected him to make. But again, you can't fault him. What I would say is actually my takeaway with regards to Jokic tonight was I was impressed with his fight tonight. It felt like he wanted to just carry Denver to a win they weren't supposed to have. Like he knew this was, if we're going to win, it's going to by me doing something crazy. And he tried, and he almost pulled it off, but just came up a little bit short. And he came up short when he played the entire third quarter, which it's hard to fault Malone for any of, again, they were probably going to lose either way. But he definitely, I felt like, ran out of gas with about 2.5, 3 minutes to go in that third quarter. Yeah. And you play him that stretch, and you're like, okay, you're just trying to buy it. But Malone was immediately justified when the fourth quarter opened, and it was a 14-2 run in 2.5 minutes. And it's like, yeah, that's why you did it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not going to criticize Michael Malone's rotations when he's.
I mean, I want to be clear. I'm not either. I'm just saying.
I know you're not. There were members of the core that were like, "Why isn't PJ playing in this?" Come on, man. Like, we're down to like the Nuggets are down to the bare bones of the rotation, and like Facu's back in by necessity, and
right.
Bones is out, right? like Bones tweaks an ankle and isn't playing well. Like Austin Rivers had to play 29 minutes tonight. There's just only so much you could reasonably expect in the spot, and quite honestly, like, I honestly think this 36-52. I will say this: like 36-52 is too much on the back-to-back for Jokic. Just is.
Oh,
I understand. I understand that he's like that. His thought process is like, well, look, we got to try and get the win. We just don't have any other options. Take the L. Just take the L. Like, play the normal rotation, pull him out with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. They break it open and then just pull the plug. Like, and he won't do this. He's just not wired to. And it's part of it. Like, I'll say this. It's hard to have it both ways, right? Like, we applaud them and marvel at how they always seem to win in situations of such high adversity. And then on the other hand, if they lose, we're like, well, why didn't you just pull the plug? So it's like,
I also feel like if you get this win, in a lot of ways, it propels you. It's like one of those toughness wins. And they already have a couple of those. I mean, the Pacer game, like they have some of these already, but they went for it tonight. They felt like they could have done it. And to be honest, I felt like they were going to pull it off all the way up until that, I put it out on Twitter. I was like, okay, this bench stretch let's see if they can if Denver's down 2, or something like that, when Jokic comes in, I'll feel good about it. But they were down 10, and it was just the game got so unraveled in such a short period of time. And here's the other thing I'll say. If you look at the like real big indicators of the things that maybe matter, did Luka struggle against Aaron Gordon? Yes, that happened again. Even though he had a good game, like, that's still a matchup you watch and you go, Aaron Gordon provides some problems to him that are kind of unique. Jokic dominated his matchup. There was some Monte Morris continues to play better and better. So there's some good signs here. You have a rest disadvantage, a home court disadvantage, and you bring it out to this and you almost win. I think that's a pretty impressive night. And then the last thing is Porzingis was on fire. Tim Hardaway Jr. was on fire. Jalen Brunson, I don't think he was on fire or anything, but he knocked down all of his shots that he's expected to make. So they just ran a little bit hot. Denver had some bad bounces, and it went the other way.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty acceptable loss. So, and hey, nobody took a business decision on an interception or a fumble return. So let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about whether or not the injuries are at capacity for the Denver Nuggets. We'll do that when we come back. But boy, the Nuggets have a lot of injuries. So what they're going to need? They're going to need some physical therapy relief, which is why they should take some of the stress of daily life off of their body with Theragun.
Yes.
Theragun is a handheld percussive therapy device that releases your deepest muscle tension using a scientifically calibrated combo of depth, speed, and power, and it's as quiet as an electric toothbrush. The Gen 4 Theragun doesn't just feel good, it gets to the source of the pain by releasing tension using Theragun's signature percussive therapy, which goes 60% deeper than vibration alone.
But it also does feel really good. So it doesn't just feel really good, but it does feel really good.
Whether you want to treat your muscle tension from working out, an injury, or just the stresses of everyday life, there's no substitute for the Theragun Gen 4. The OLED screen and design makes you feel like you're holding something from the future. Just go to the site and check it out. And the Theragun app learns from your behaviors and suggests guided routines. Theragun is trusted by 250 professional sports teams like Real Madrid and elite athletes like Paul George, DeAndre Hopkins, Maria Sharapova, hundreds of thousands of customers. Try Theragun for 30 days starting at only $199. Go to therabody.com/lockedon right now and get your Gen 4 Theragun today.
Great Christmas gift idea, honestly.
Good tip there by Adam. That's therabody.com/lockedon. Therabody.com/lockedon. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for making Locked On Nuggets your first listen each and every day. We're free and we're available on all platforms. Matt Moore and Adam Mares breaking down the Nuggets' loss to the Mavericks on Monday night. All right, so here's the body count. Jamal Murray out. Will Barton out. I kind of expect Will to play Thursday, but we'll see. Maybe the back just.
Did you see the video of him going down?
No.
Vic Lombardi tweeted it out because you picture like, okay, he goes, he's doing warm-ups and he's kind of like, ooh, my back's a little tight. No, he kind of collapses on the ground and like writhes in pain before being picked up and taken to the locker room. It was a little concerning, to be honest. Hopefully although he was on the bench today and moving around and everything. So hopefully he's back Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, if not Thursday, then probably for Friday, and if not, then
another back-to-back. This is such. I swear to God, the schedule. Like, man, honestly, this happened. Was it last year or the year before when Denver had all these injuries? When it was like a weird schedule anomaly. The Nuggets have 11 games in 12 days or something, and here we are somehow front-loaded back to our fourth set of back-to-backs in 3 weeks. And guess what? The Nuggets have half their roster out.
Again, it's going to even out. You're going to get the.
I hope there's a roster for it to even out too.
Yeah, but no, like so many of these are. Well, yeah, I mean, we'll get to the lingering one.
Two back injuries. These are not just like, whatever. It's just a little. It's all I'm saying is it's a little weird. But
well, let me see just how unfair it is. Let me look at this up real quick.
Can you see how many teams have had 4 back-to-backs already?
I can see the count, of where we're at. Hang on.
That's interesting. Is this
right.
on which site is this? This is that
positive residual.
Positive residual. Yeah, he has the best tool for this schedule.
So you want it through this coming weekend because that's Friday is when they will have had the other back-to-back. By that point,
it's 4 back-to-backs, right?
Hang on. 19.
Dallas, Utah, Minnesota, and now Chicago. At least Chicago is not a conference game.
By this Saturday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams will have had 4 back-to-backs, and one team, the New Orleans Pelicans, will have had 5.
Well, the Pelicans are 1 in 15 or something. Yeah. So, wow, maybe that adds a little context to their.
I mean, you really want some context? Here you go. Atlanta struggling 4 back-to-backs. Boston struggling 4 back-to-backs.
Interesting.
Charlotte, now Cleveland's doing really well.
Well,
Indiana,
they're doing all right. Yeah, they're doing
Indiana,
well.
Portland in a pretty bad spot, and Toronto, who has lost a handful. So, look, maybe that's
a lot of teams, that you could look at and say, hey, man, are they maybe not quite as bad as they've looked? That's interesting.
But I think the early stretch does necessarily, it puts more fatigue on them. And the bigger problem is just that it's cluster injuries, right? It's one thing if like your injuries are spread out and it's like one guy's out 1 week and one guy's out the next week. That's annoying, but you have most of the team. The fact that like the Nuggets, because of Bones Highland being limited with the ankle injury, we're basically down to Monte Morris, Facu Campazzo, and PJ Dozier is a problem.
Yeah.
You got to have guards, and Jokic is once again tasked with a very, very large workload. It is what it is. And you're always, this is the thing, is you're like, okay, they this, but maybe not this other one. And then like Zeke Naji goes down, right? It's like, and that it's Zeke Naji goes down. So JaMychal Green and Jeff Green, both longtime veterans, have to play more on the back-to-back.
Right.
And you're having to play small, and it's just like it's a mess. And this is just kind of where it is. But the good news is that they will get progressively probably healthier as the schedule lightens, which is also good, right? If they can avoid catastrophe, knock on wood, that's the big thing. Is just, but I'll say this: like, look, if Aaron Gordon like tweaks an ankle, they're down to like nobody. They're gonna have to play Dos Verdes 38 minutes. It's just there's no, and this is just kind of where it is, man. The Nuggets. Look, the Nuggets got screwed by being too good to miss the bubble, and they had an incredible run. But honestly, I'll also say this, Adam: no team has really been the same since.
What do you mean?
So Miami last year was not the same. Lots of injuries.
Right.
Miami's had Jimmy.
Oh, from the bubble, you're saying?
Yeah, nobody's been the same. Like,
well, the Lakers literally traded their entire roster minus 2 guys. So,
but the 2 guys who are most important to everything that they do have
sure.
had injury issues since then.
Yeah,
like,
that's interesting.
LeBron was indestructible, and now LeBron is, he's out again.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And well, then you could definitely go post ergo propter hawk on that, right? I watched West Wing last night, but like you can go that route. But I do just kind of look at it and go, and more than anything, I'm just kind of aware that the Nuggets, this is going to be hard. And look, I will say this too. What's funny? They still probably win this game if the Mavericks don't step to the plate. I'll say that. Like Jalen Brunson and Kristaps Porzingis step to the plate. THJ in particular, I thought. Yeah. Like Mavericks fans some Mavericks fans are very divided at this point. Like half of them are like, I'm a little concerned this team is not good, and the other half are like, why are you complaining? Look at the record. Like,
can I tell you one thing tonight? That surprised me. There's the perspective of it's Luka and a bunch of guys. I was actually impressed with the playmaking and creation of some of the other guys. Like Luka's numbers ended up being okay, but I thought that Denver did a very good job on him. They just ended up getting shot creation from Jalen Brunson and buckets from Porzingis and a bunch of other guys.
I'll say this: he did pretty well. I was going back through some of the second half clips. He did pretty well against the trap in getting it to Powell, who then found KP. Like they use that mechanism, right, which is how it's supposed to go, right? Is like if you're building the offensive counter to what the Nuggets do, it's short roll, quick pass, trigger 3.
Yeah.
And they were able to hit it. So
yeah, they were able to hit it at a high rate tonight. At least Porzingis was. Let me ask you this. I know it's early. I know both of these teams are going to look dramatically different by the time the playoffs roll around, but how do you feel about this matchup just now that you've seen 2 games?
4-1.
5-game series for Denver.
Yeah,
I feel pretty confident with Denver too. They're good. Luka's really good, but I just think that Denver has a pretty good answer for him. Like if you just say Jokic and Doncic are the 2 best players, one on each team, Denver has a pretty good answer for Luka. Nobody has a great answer for either guy, but they have a pretty good one. I don't think they have a good answer at all for Jokic.
No, they don't. And
Jokic should have had 43 tonight. He missed so many down the stretch, like little.
I'm just amazed that they're like that people are taking Kristaps Porzingis victory laps on me right now, because I'm just like, he got his ass kicked by Bol. Like
I know there was a stretch there where it was like, hey man, I think Bol's got a slight advantage here. It didn't last, but
like Bol took it to him, and I will say a lot of it was KP was like, let him do whatever, and then he like scored on it 4 times, and he was like, all right,
he got caught on his heels a little.
I should defend him a little bit. I mean, Jalen Brunson shot the lights out. TSJ shot really well. I
think Jalen Brunson's a good player.
He's really good. I've been on for a couple of years. He's really good. Yeah. He's solid. He's better than solid. He is, I don't know, B grade Fred VanVleet. Is that a good comp?
Oh yeah, I kind of like it a lot. Like he makes shots. I'm wrong. I'd have to see his career numbers or this year's numbers, but I just feel like every time I watch him, he knocks down the shots he's supposed to.
Couple more notes on this game. Monte Morris, I thought was great tonight.
Yep.
I thought Monte was terrific tonight. Had like popping in his step, and like the shot was snapping the rim, and he just looked really good. Aaron Gordon goes 6 of 12 from the field for 14 points.
He gets more comfortable each game. Aaron Gordon does.
I don't know that you can really expect more from Gordon in this offense and at this pay team, right? Like 14 and 7 is just like a solid amount, and people are just gonna be like, that's what you're paying all this money for. But it's like, yeah, you are, because you're paying for the defense,
right?
Neither Green was good. Just another bad night for the Greens.
J. Mike has some weird plays under his belt this year, man. He had a missed layup today. That was
I know.
What is that?
I will say I like his rebounding.
He was frustrated too. That was a frustration foul that I'm not sure he like. I can't remember who it was holding his arm, but I was kind of like, that seems more a reflection of how J. Michael's playing than it was on something somebody did.
Austin Rivers must be an avid Locked On Nuggets listener, as he goes 3 of 6.
Yeah, he knocked down some threes. He more than doubled his season high or his season total.
So I'm not gonna go off on Campazzo because, again, like it'd be very easy for me to cherry pick this one, right? And be like, see, but it's just like, look, again, they're back to back. They're exhausted.
He shouldn't have been exhausted though. I don't think the bench should be exhausted. I would say if you give an excuse to the bench, it's that they've kind of figured something out given specific personnel, and you take Bones out of that, or you hobble Bones, and it's like, yeah, they look good when Bones looks spectacular. And I don't know if it's realistic. Yeah. I don't know how much tonight was just he was hobbled, and how much of tonight was like, hey, he's a rookie. He's probably going to be up and down.
Right. Well, and the other thing I would say is just like the only player that I really kind of looked to and go like, okay, that was a step backwards, was PJ. Like he really was great in the homestand. I thought he was better every single game in the homestand. This is a step backwards, and that's okay. Like he's young enough and still appreciate it and still improving. So let's take a break. We'll come back. I want to get into a question that's kind of lingering over the team a little bit, not looming, just something that we need. I need to flesh out some topics with
lingering.
Yeah, lingering. So we'll talk about that when we come back on Locked On Nuggets. But first, there's all these makes and models for cars, right? There's the SV and the SL and whatever. And if you go into a big chain block store to get auto parts, they're gonna ask you 20 questions about it, and you're like, I don't know. I don't have a guy SV here. And at the end of it, they're going to charge you more because they got different prices for professionals and do-it-yourselfers. There's no reason to go through that entire process. You've got Rock Auto at home and in your pocket. You get to save time and money when you use Rock Auto with a family business that's been serving do-it-yourselfers for over 30 years. Their prices are reliably low for every customer, and they've got everything that you need from brake parts to tail lamps to motor oil and even new carpet. You can explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution for your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right, Locked On in their How'd You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need at rockauto.com. We're also brought to you today by BetOnline. Back and better than ever. Adam, I had a cracking Monday. I was hot. Finally, I didn't get hit with a million beats. I actually caught a few lucky breaks. I had Wolves plus 3.5. Jay Crowder misses the free throw. I had that in the under. Hit them both. Huge night for your guy, Matt Moore. Betting NBA on Monday night. I was very excited. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the basketball and football action this weekend. Head to our new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus at BetOnline. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. We will be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets, I want to tell you about Locked On Bets, your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q, with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. All right, final segment here on Locked On Nuggets. Adam Mares. Okay, so MPJ. Wind, in his article, his column on the DMVR, talked about how he's heard that it's not, the MRI hasn't revealed anything concerning for MPJ. I mostly want to just flesh this out because I'm frustrated with the training staff, as I have been throughout the years. I've told the story about Gary Harris's foot before. Like, this is another situation. MPJ went out a week ago more than a week ago, right? Like,
yeah,
it was or was it no?
it
Yeah,
was 6 games ago. I mean, it
Yeah.
was in the first quarter of the 6th game back.
yeah. And we don't know. We don't have an official diagnosis. We don't have back spasms. We don't have definitely don't have anything like herniated disc. We don't have any sort of actual description of the injury. I'm not asking for a detailed timeline. I'm just asking for something more than his back hurts. And I don't know what to do because the way that the Nuggets have done this in terms of their structure is that the training staff, the way that they present it, and I really don't know the reality on this. I don't. The way that they present it is the training staff provides updates to the coaching staff and the PR staff. And if the training staff doesn't have an update on it, then there's nothing that they can tell us.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I don't think they're going to change anything on that.
No, they're not. I'm trying to communicate this to the listener because if
Right.
you're a listener of the show, you got to be like, why don't you guys tell me what the hell's going on with MPJ? Like, what's
Right.
going on? You know?
And we might get a chance. Look, here's the thing. You get the best answers when you get to go to the source. Like Malone pregame, postgame, you're going to get whatever. You know, like he wants to talk about the game at hand, the moment at hand, whatever. But we will probably have practice on Wednesday. The Nuggets have 2 days off. They'll fly back almost certain. I don't know if it's already come out, but probably no practice tomorrow. And then you get practice Wednesday, and that will be a chance to try to talk to Malone and find out a little bit more on it. But it's funny because I really at this moment don't know if I should expect him back on Thursday or next month.
Yeah. This is
the team needs him. Here's what I would say. If the team is so shorthanded right now that they really could use him playing if there's any chance that he's capable of playing.
Yeah, but you absolutely cannot risk it if there's any sort of if there's any concern about re-injury.
Right.
You can't play him at all.
Of course.
So it's like they could use him, but they also can't risk it. I don't know. I'll say this, I've heard similar stuff to what Wind reported, where the kind of word was, I'll just tell you, we freaked out when Malone was foreseeable future. He left the podium and we all looked at each other and we're like, oh God, I guess this is a major deal. And then he walked it back some. But then I heard well, no, I heard it it wasn't that bad of a deal. But there's still no timeline. It's still and then he was, I'll say this too, he was upgraded to questionable, I think for the game last week. One of the games last week, he was upgraded to questionable and then ruled out.
Right. Well, I think Malone said questionable and then they ruled him out. But yeah, either way, it doesn't matter. This is what I'm getting at is it's a little bit weird. Hopefully we get an update. The team desperately needs him. And you're right. But you also can't force this type of injury, the specific injury to the specific player. You can't be like, hey, play at 80% or whatever. So they're just in a kind of a precarious spot. But I do wonder, you think about, he wasn't playing well. He knows it. Today after the game, Austin Rivers mentioned that in his postgame that MPJ is very motivated to get his season on track. And it's good to hear. You wonder sometimes what a guy's mind frame is, and Lord knows we haven't talked to him all year. He hasn't really done media yet. So I am curious to see. This is, I wonder, a good opportunity for him to return. If Barton is still out and Bones is hobbled and this or that, it's almost a good opportunity for hey, the team really needs you at this moment. It would have been weird if Denver was on a 6-game winning streak and then you come back. It could be a little uncomfortable, but now it's, hey, really shorthanded, could use you. If he's available to come back, it'd be great to see him on Thursday.
I'm exhausted from the fact of they seem invincible 1 minute and then the next minute you're like, oh God, they're so injured. They're so injured.
Yeah. Well, we got 2 new ones today. We got 2 new ones, Zeke Naji and Bones Highland. It was.
It's really rough when the young guys are getting hurt. I'm sorry, if you're on the Nuggets and you're a young guy, you don't get to get hurt. There's too many old guys on this team. The young guys got to stay healthy. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right, let's wrap it up. This is a shorter one because, well, it's a schedule loss, and that's how these things go. We'll be back with more coverage throughout the week on Locked On Nuggets. We'll take you through the back-to-back on Thursday and Friday versus the Sixers and the Bulls. Man, that Bulls game may be bigger than the Sixers one. Who would have thought?
I wonder if Embiid's back, by the way. I think he's scheduled to be. I think that's the 10th day, so it's kind of a let's wait and see. That's like right on the line.
Him catching the Nuggets at their absolute most injured, like barely playing anybody. And that would be, we'll see. Yeah, we'll have you covered. Make sure to subscribe to Locked On Nuggets. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe. Please subscribe to the YouTube page. Just go to the YouTube page, open it up, click on the link, hit subscribe, and then you never have to see us again. Just do it for us. I'm kidding. You should watch us. It's funny because we're funny looking, but you should do it because it's a good time. For Adam Mares of DMVR, I'm Matt Moore from the Action Network. Thanks for joining us.